Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. Sport all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Whole sports all plays. Yeah.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am your girl Sensei. Welcome back to another episode of the Sports Senseis. I'm so excited today because we have an action-packed show like we always do. Thank you for joining us once again. Like I told y'all, we're going to keep hitting y'all with the consecutive back-to-back. Today we are talking about everything from the NFL to the NBA to the WNBA. We're going to give some preseason predictions as far as awards and things of that nature. We'll also be talking about Donovan Mitchell to the Cavaliers because who in the world saw that coming? And we are also be talking about the WNBA playoffs because they are on fire. They've been lighting up the Twitter airwaves, ESPN, all those things. They've been getting all the love that they properly deserve. But before we get into all that, check out this really cool video. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Sports Senseis. I am your girl Sensei, of course, and I got my most wonderful co-host with me, Jay Nicole. We're missing Ruth the Truth right just for the moment, just because she is handling some fantasy football business right now, but when she's done, she'll be joining us. But right now, it's just me and Jay. So, Jay, of course, like I start every show, how are you doing today, sis?
I am doing great. It's another week. It's the week of the first season of the NFL. So, woo!
Excitement.
We already know. We already know what I'm doing over here.
Intentional with the hat.
Football is back. Is there any greater time of the year? So super, super, super excited about that.
Honestly, yes, very much. I am doing well. Like I said, this is my favorite time of the year, also, and as well, this football's back. That means it's closer to the NBA coming back. The WNBA playoffs are on, and you know, it's going to be a great time. Shout out to Mike. He always shows Michael. He always shows us love, aka the con man. So shout out to the con man. But yeah, I'm doing great. Like I said, this is the best time of the year. This is sports heaven right now is what I'm in, and just because everything's going on at the same time right now. But before we get started here, I want to talk about Serena Williams. Of course, she is official. So she said. I hope she comes back for another tournament, but she said she's officially retired. I know we spoke briefly last episode about just her impact on what she's meant to us, what she's meant to tennis. But when you think about her career in its totality, like what do you think it represents? I mean, because can you even really put it into words? Because it's such a dynamic on and off the court, if you will. But I'll let you run with it.
Yeah, I actually want to. So her last game, I simply made a post of her accomplishments, and I just said thank you, Serena. I did it on all my social media platforms on that last day. But I want to read something that somebody actually commented on my post about her because there's been all this conversation. She's the GOAT, greatest, the GOAT of all women athletes, and she's about tennis, but all of this stuff, right? The GOAT debates always go crazy. But somebody wrote this. I'm gonna shout him out, Angelo M. Mitchell. He wrote, we got to figure out how we can give her those flowers that she's earned. While we've been sweating on Tom Brady, MJ, LeBron, Tiger, we need to add her to the convo. if someone brings up Tiger and his cultural impact, Serena's name cannot be omitted. This might be the greatest race impacts in history, not within acceptance, but participating involvement perspective. So her impact on the culture, African Americans playing tennis, right? So that on a whole other level. Um, it really just really stood out to me, right? Because I'm like, I've been seeing all these things, right? And um, anytime, right? I mean, we you see us football, basketball, right? These are our two dominant sports as African American athletes. But for us to break in, right? For us to break into tennis, for Serena Williams to break into tennis, her and her sister walking the beads and the braids as teenagers, right? Playing from the streets of Compton, like who would have known at 40 years old, still playing at such a high caliber? I really think I'm like, I know she, hey, one last doubles, with Venus, right? But maybe if they hadn't have done that, I mean, because just playing day by day, right? So that extends some energy. Maybe we still see, but just, I mean, what she's meant to all the young women watching her, African American community, but just as a tennis player overall, all I can say to her is thank you. I am proud to have gotten to watch her, to see her. She's just an athletic icon, and definitely in the conversation of GOAT when it comes to athletes, but just her breaking through to tennis and just wow, something we've never seen before, and I think we'll never see again. You know what I mean? She's just the great of the greats, and just again, thank you, Serena Williams, for what you have done for all young Black girls looking up to you, for the world of tennis. You know what I mean? Just a true athlete, in and out, to be able to 40 years old. You know what I mean? We're sitting here talking about Tom Brady being 40, but like as a woman, she carried a child inside of her. Okay, and what I mean,
yeah.
I'm like, come on, sis. Like, I just thank you. That is just. I mean, just there's really no words. What do you think?
I think like I said last episode, Serena is my favorite athlete of all time. Like I know Braun is my goat, as far as basketball and things of that nature, but Serena's my favorite athlete of all time because for so many reasons. For one, she does an individual sport. And like I always say, when it comes to individual sports, you don't get to blame anybody else. You don't get to point the finger at anybody else. You can't say, well, if this person would have set this up or if this person would have did that, like, no, it's all you. So the fact that she, not only that, but she played a sport that wasn't quote unquote meant for us, people that look like us, to play. And not only did she play it, but she dominated it. And not only did she dominated over a span of decades. Like, how many people can say that they've dominated decades? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a different kind of GOAT talk. When you really talk about GOATs, like, this is 2 decades, no breaks, no retirements, no really major. I mean, I don't think she really had a major injury ever. You know what I'm saying? That's keeping your body in shape. Like you said, she played 8 weeks pregnant. Tom Brady can't do that. LeBron James can't do that. Michael Jordan can't do that. Like, it's a lot of women that can't do that. And she did it. And she not only did she play, but she won. And I mean, she's always been unapologetically her. I always have a trouble with that word for whatever reason, but she's always been unapologetically herself. And I think that's a major key factor in this whole thing because so many things were criticized about her. It was the way she walked, the way she talked, what she would wear, how clothes fit her, the beads, and how I remember all the way back when they were rocking the beads and how they were criticized because they were too loud. You know, and people wanted them to take them out, and they were trying to penalize them for wearing beads, and she still just kept it. Her and her sister kept doing it. So I mean, just from an impact standpoint alone, as far as like you said, cultural, and I'm glad that the person that commented that said that because that is very true. Because if Serena was a white man, there would be unquestionably she would be in the conversation of greatest athlete of all time. But because she's black and she's a woman, now it has to be a debate. Now it has to be a conversation, or we can consider her to be. There's no consideration. Look at her stat. Let's stat her line her accomplishments up against anybody else in the discussion. Like if the GOAT conversation is based off of eye test and off of stats alone, Serena Williams needs to be on that Mount Rushmore of greatest athletes of all time. Period. Like, period. Even the people that you could consider to put in front of her haven't been as dominant.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we have to have a real conversation when it comes to greatest of all time. It's not greatest of all time to you. It's not greatest of all time just because you like this person over this person. Greatest of all time means simply what it means of all time. If I stack you up against a bunch of competitors, where do you rank? Where do you lie? And Serena's gonna lie ahead of a lot of people that we put in these GOAT conversations. So that's why I said she's my greatest athlete, the greatest athlete of all time to me, and she's my favorite athlete of all time because it's undisputed. It's just like if you look at like I said, just look at the stats itself. It's undisputed. She's the highest paid female athlete ever. Like she's broken every record in tennis that you could possibly break, but one. And that she's one off of, and like I said, I really want her to come back just to get just to get number 24. But you know, if this is it, then like you said, Jay, thank you, Serena, because you've given us so many things, so many great gems. You've motivated us. You've taken on so much responsibility as one person, and you've carried an entire community. You created a space in tennis for women that look like her, look like us. You know what I'm saying? That for the Coco Gauffs or the Naomi Osakas, like you created that lane for that to be possible, and none of that is possible without you. Like you are unfortunately had to be the scapegoat, but you are the GOAT in a lot of people's eyes, including mine. But what I want to bring up before we get off of this topic, so like I said, we know she's at 23 titles compared to I forgot. God, do you know the latest McGrath? McGrath Court or something like that. She holds the record. She has 24. Serena has 23. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because the McGrath. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, sis. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but I apologize. She recently, I don't know, she did an interview or somebody asked her something in the lines of about Serena Williams basically gearing up to her retirement. And her comments were, I've always admired Serena. I don't think Serena's ever admired me. And then she, went to talk about having 24 titles and kind of, it was kind of shady. Like if you go read it, because she was just like, well, I didn't play as long and I got 24 titles and, she only had one kid and she has a one since she had her child. Like it was just like a lot of just like real shady, kind of messy. Yeah, and it makes me wonder is if that is indeed the case, because I know I've heard Serena speak on her before, and it's always been in a positive light and a very respectful light. So I wonder if do you think that maybe she's a bit jealous of how people love and just adore Serena did? Like, do you think that she maybe feels forgotten in all of this, in this big picture of what like I said, how people revere and love Serena? We don't really talk about her the same way. You know what I'm saying? So do you think it's a bit of jealousy, or do you think that, I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, tennis is a sport that, and I can sit and say like, oh man, I was this great tennis fan or whatever, right? But when you have somebody that comes in and changes the game as Serena Williams does with beat, like, you know what I'm saying? You take notice. The person's name is Margaret Court, and she has 24.
Margaret Court.
So that's the most,
Court.
Okay. Most of the time behind Margaret Court's 24. Yeah, and so I'm like, she's an icon. She changed the game. Not that what you didn't do was great, and people who know you who you are, but when you have a generational talent come in of the, again for the community, for the African community, the women, like it changes the whole game. You know what I mean? It just did. It was great what you did. Nobody's taking away from any of your accomplishments. But exactly like you said, I didn't even know who this person was, right? You could give me the list of, I mean, when I think of tennis people, I'm like, I think there's names like Steffi Graf. Like there's certain names that I've heard that I hear, like Margaret Court, like that name's not going off to me like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? And so I think, no disrespect to her, But to kind of, put Serena on the slide, it's like, you're great in all your accomplishments, but Serena Williams changed the game of tennis. And you have to understand that there are players, there are athletes that come into the game and just change it. You know what I mean? They're that iconic. And like, that's what she did for the world of tennis. You know what I mean? She just did. It's no disrespect to you, but for her to kind of, I don't think she's ever admired me, and I don't, you know what I mean? Like, why are you trying to throw, you know what I mean? Give Serena her flowers. Your records, your titles, the things that you've done will stand on itself too. It's enough love to go around for everybody. Like, you just have to understand, Serena Williams changed the game. She's a generational talent. Like, what again? When we see, I mean, we going all the way back. Remember Arthur Ashe, what he, as a black man, what he did for, like, it changes we know tennis is a predominantly Caucasian sport, right? So anytime, things come in, it's just the whole vibe, the way it came in, like, you just have to understand that. Again, no disrespect to Margaret Court. Like, you just have to understand Serena Williams hits different.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, and I totally agree. Like, it just is. It's one of it just is what it is. Like, yes, what she did, like you said, we're not trying to take away from her accomplishments. What she did was great, and 24 still stands alone. Like, Serena didn't get the 24, so you still have that record. Like, you still, but ain't nobody like Serena, bro. Like, it just is what it is. Like, when you watch Serena, like, it's an experience. It's not even just like you're watching. It's not like watching a typical person play tennis. Like, you watch Serena for the emotion, the pain, the hard hitting, the great surge. You watch for so many different reasons. You watch Serena for the experience. You want the full Serena experience. I don't know too many people that were like, yeah, I want to watch Margaret Court play. Like, no, I'm sorry, sis, we don't. You don't hit the same. Like you said, Serena just hits different. She just is different. Like, she is the bar, unfortunately. Like, when people think of tennis, when they think of greats, especially when it comes to women, you think Serena Williams. It just is what it is. We all recognize that Serena is one of the, like, again, the greatest to me, but one of the greatest of all time. Like, she did it in a time where she wasn't supposed to do it. And the thing of it is, like, respectfully, sis, you're white. And Serena's black. So it's gonna make a difference because for a lot of people, because we were not supposed to be in tennis. You know what I'm saying? Like, not only not supposed to be in it, we're not even supposed to be great at it, let alone considered in the GOAT conversation. So it's gonna hit different. It just is. Like, it like I said, doesn't take away from you what you accomplished. And if she doesn't admire you, girl, so like, you can't make somebody admire you. Like, I don't think that's the case. But if that is indeed the case, like, okay, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're still you, she's still her. Like, it doesn't matter. But I think it's one of those things, and it happens to Serena often in tennis when it comes to her and her white counterparts, whether it's an interviewer or they don't call them referees. What do they call them? Like I forgot the term. There's a term for it.
Judges, line
judge.
Yeah,
like the line judge, or I think it's like a line judge when it comes to her and a line judge, or her and a reporter after whether she wins or loses. Like, there's always this underlining of, like, either jealousy, racism, or they always try to sneak something, like, in there to kind of, like, either throw her off or have her say something that's out of pocket, or kind of diminish or demean her, or to belittle what she is or what she's done. And what another thing I've always respected about her is she's never let that slide. Like, if you go back and you watch with the interviewers, like, she's let quite a few interviewers have it respectfully, but she's let them have it because, and I feel like that's so appropriate, because things like conversations like these and statements like these, like, you got to check that, because if not, the next upcoming, whoever they're going to don the next Serena Williams is going to have to deal with that too. And you know what I'm saying? And I don't know. It's just, to me, it just feels like it's underlining jealousy, because it's like people don't revere her the way that we revere Serena. Like, you know what I'm saying? talk about her the same way. They don't even talk about her really at all. We had to look up her name just to see how to pronounce it. Like it's just, you know what I'm saying? It's one of those things, and it's like it's sorry, sis, but at the same time, like we saw Serena in real time. A lot of people who are watching tennis right now, you weren't a part of the conversation, other than you had the record. That's it.
Right.
So it's like, you can't blame her for that. But I just thought that I wanted to bring that up because I just thought that was interesting. The conversation kind of created around that. But moving right along, let's jump into some NFL really quick here. Now, I know last week we gave our NFL preseason predictions. Before we actually know, let me walk it back a little bit. So before we get into NFL, did you watch the LSU game the other day?
Unfortunately, I did not, but I know there's like a big walk me through that. I know I'm trying to keep up with all the sports right now. We had a big rivalry game here in San Antonio with UTSA and Houston, triple overtime, like craziness. So that was like all that I was into. But what exactly happened with that LSU game?
Okay, so I'm an LSU fan.
Okay.
Let me just throw that out there. For whatever, and somebody posted this on Twitter, and it honestly is the most logical thing that I've ever heard. Because they said New Orleans teams always find the most heartbreaking way to lose. And that is not a lie. Like, it legit is, it's probably the most truest statement when it comes to sports. Like, if you think about the Saints, if you think about LSU, the college football team, like, all their losses that like are in close games have been in the most heartbreaking, like, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened fashion. Basically, games back, it was honestly, it was a really good game. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time, just going back and forth. They blocked the kick at the end. I think it was FSU that we played against. I think it was. FSU. Yeah, so it was FSU. FSU freaking blocked the kick, and I just slid down the wall because I was like, "Are you serious? Like, is this happening to me?" I was so heartbroken. I was like, "Why is this happening? How is this happening?" Oh God, if this is any indication of what the season for LSU is going to be like, I'm clocking out. I'll try again next year. I don't want to do it right now. It's too much. But I just wanted to, we don't have to talk about it too much since you didn't watch it, but I just wanted to throw that out there. But let's get into some NFL stuff. Like I said, we gave our preseason predictions. Preseason for, not preseason, but our week 1 predictions last week, who we thought was going to win, things of that nature, the interesting games. So I thought this time around, what would be fun if we did like who we think is gonna, if we do like preseason awards, kind of like if we do who we think is gonna be the MVP, who's gonna decline, Ruth, you are childish for that gold nose. You didn't have to do that. Who's gonna decline? Who's gonna improve? Is there gonna be any major moves made? Let's just have a little bit of fun with this. So we'll start with, who do we think is going to be the MVP of the league this year?
I mean,
what you got?
Could it be none other than my guy Patrick Mahomes? I feel like he's coming back with a vengeance because he did not play well in that AFC Championship game, and last year, his drop-off year, which we know we had a slow start. He threw 37 touchdowns, threw for 4,800 yards. I feel like he's coming back with a vengeance. I feel like people, they're like, oh, are Chiefs really the team to beat now? Clearly, they couldn't get past Joe Burrows and the Bengals. So, I mean, yes, he's my guy. Yes, that's my team. But I definitely think Patrick Mahomes has a chip on his shoulder. I think he's definitely going to come back with a vengeance because the Chiefs are still that powerhouse team. I can see him. Now. In the running with this, I feel like because our division's kind of stacked. I'm really unfortunately looking forward to, but I think Derek Carr and Devontae Adams are just gonna be, I think that combo is really gonna light up the screen. So I could see him giving Patrick a run for his money. Let's see, who else do I think? Right now, those are gonna be my guys. I'm gonna say Patrick, of course. Like I said, I think he's coming back with a vengeance. I think he wants to let all the NFL teams know the Chiefs are still that team. He's still that guy. And but yeah, Derek Carr and Devontae Adams, I think that could definitely be something to see that's gonna light up the screens, and he could be in the conversation for MVP talks. He has an elite wide receiver to throw that football to now, his college buddy teammate. So I think they're gonna show up and show out.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I'm gonna go Lamar Jackson for my MVP. I think just for the same reason that you said Patrick Mahomes would be MVP. Um I think Lamar Jackson is gonna be on that same type of time, just because there's been a lot of conversation about him this offseason. There's still the conversation of can he throw the ball down the field, things of that nature. So I think he's looking to prove himself, to be among the elite, because a lot of times when we bring up the young quarterbacks in the NFL, he's not really mentioned in that top class of like quarterbacks. We know he's talented. We know that, he's freakishly athletic. We know he's fast. We know he can run. But it's yet to be. He already has the MVP, so we know he has MVP caliber talent. But last year was kind of his drop off year in a sense. Like they started out to a slow start, then he got injured. Everybody else got injured. It was just a big mess for the Ravens last year. So I think he's gonna come back with a vengeance. But I would say number 2 would be Patrick Mahomes, just because of all the things that you spoke about, as far as him, because a lot of people were heavily criticizing him as well, as far as his drop off year last year. Like, they definitely started off slow. I felt like he could have played a lot better in the AFC Championship game. For sure, he kind of got outdueled, and a lot of people are in a rush to put Joe Burrow kind of in that spot where Patrick Mahomes was, where we felt like even though he lost the Super Bowl, we still feel like he's the second coming, or he's the next guy. So yeah, he would be my number 2, but number 3 would be if I could just throw just a third horse in there, for like a dark horse, I could see Joe Burrow coming for MVP as well, because Joe Burrow is definitely allowed to prove something. He got a taste of the Super Bowl, and that's a really young team. I definitely feel like they're eager to get the season started, get back, and they're a lot more confident. So definitely looking forward to seeing what he does. But who do you have for a comeback player of the year?
Ooh, could we see if he, to my knowledge, he still didn't get signed, but could we see your boy OBJ come back with a vengeance, come back after an injury, and just show them he still is that guy? Guy, prove it. Y'all took too long to give him a contract, but he still can do what he does.
I could, we've been discussing it in the privacy of our home, and I could definitely see that. That's what we're gearing towards. Definitely taking too long to give him a contract, but I don't even know where he goes. Like, right. You know what I'm saying? If he, because there's so many different teams that are supposedly that are interested, and then you got the Rams. So I don't know, but wherever he goes, I could definitely see him being comeback player of the year, because I still think he has a lot left in him. He seems to be recovering really well. Just from what I've seen, like he's been, walking around, getting a lot of workouts and stuff in. Like, he's been doing running and stuff like that. So that's, that's also positive to see. So I definitely could see. I definitely see that. I also could see Lamar Jackson getting that award too, just because he, he had he pretty much didn't play all of last season, or at least the last half. So I could definitely see him going after that award too. But I don't know, man. It would probably be between those two if it were up to me.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say that too. I was like, you mentioned Lamar, right? He injured basically all last season. He needs to come prove himself, all the contract negotiations, all of that. Yeah, so I definitely, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not a Lamar Jackson fan, but it's like, again, let me see what you can do in the playoffs. Like, it's great 2019 MVP, but I need you to get it done. You want the big bucks. But yeah, I definitely could see him. Anybody coming back off of injury, right? You look to them and be like, hey, I know I was hurt, but I still am that guy. And so for either one of them to be able to come back, but my choice, OBJ, for sure, because, again, scored the first touchdown in the Super Bowl, and it broke my heart when he got injured. So I really want to see him, come back, show up and show out and say he's that guy. Because remember, before he got to LA, people thought he was washed. Like, oh, you're not the OBJ of the New York Giants and everything like that. And he's like, look, I came to the LA Rams and I came to ball. So I would love to see him, love to see him be the comeback player of the year.
Yeah, me as well. And last award we'll do here is Rookie of the Year. Who you got?
So I'm looking because I was like, okay, who do we really think could be that guy? I'm like, do I want to choose a wide receiver? How about Jamison Williams with the wide receiver to the Lions? I'm looking. To be honest, the rookies this year, I don't know if I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so hyped for this person or that person, or as I'm just kind of looking them down. I mean, I really don't have a go-to that I'm like, man, this guy's going to take out the Jets. Or I feel like in this year, we were like, hey, let's really, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like in previous years. So I don't know. Tell me who you got, and maybe I'll go with you. I'm just looking at some people who have like high rankings, but I just feel like this draft year was so like, oh my gosh, I don't know, is that just me or
no? I share that feeling with you because I was thinking
like,
to myself while you were talking, I'm like, who is in the draft that I'm like, oh my god, this person's gonna be like, I can't think of anybody that like pops out, that jumps out in my mind. That's like, oh yeah, that's gonna be the Rookie of the Year, or he's got a chance to be Rookie of the Year. Like, I don't know. I really don't know. Like, yeah, this draft wasn't one of those where it's just like an eye-popping draft where it's like you got, 5 potential people that you can see as Rookie of the Year. Like, I don't know.
I'm like looking at people, like just looking at people in their rankings and kind of going like, okay, but I'm like, I don't really. Yeah, I'm not like, oh my gosh, this person's gonna. I'm just not.
Yeah, we can let
the season start.
No, seriously, we can really move. Honestly, we can move on from
I was like, I don't
from that because I don't know either. Like I'm over here really trying to think, and I'm like, it's not giving me anything.
I'm trying to see who people took. Like first, I'm like, Trayvon Walker, defensive end from Georgia, was number 1 by Jackson. I mean, but yeah, there's nobody. Like I'm hearing names. I'm like, man, this person's gonna be great. Like I don't. So we'll have to see. We'll have to let it get started this year and then come back to that and go from there.
Yeah, I like I said, I don't really. Yeah, we'll come back to that question because I really don't. I don't have like I'm really seriously over here trying to think, and I'm like I can't think of anything. But moving right along, we'll get into some NBA stuff. Ruth said defense dominates this year's draft. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Ruth, who you got? Let us know who you got, Ruth.
Yeah, and it's because all the people who were picked, it was like defensive people were first. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah. But moving right along, we'll jump into some NBA stuff here. Donovan Mitchell is officially a Cleveland Cavalier. Who saw that coming? Why is that happening? Why is that significant? I want to know. What made him choose Cleveland out of all freaking places? Yeah, like what I don't even know what to say. Like, what are your thoughts, Jay? Like when you saw that bomb drop on your phone or wherever you saw it, what were your first initial thoughts?
Like you see things proposed and you think it's fake, right? You're like, hold on. How in the heck did the Cleveland Cavaliers come up with Donovan? Like, how is this even possible right now? He's supposed to be going to New York, right? Right, Knicks fans? He was supposed to be going to New York. What happened? How does this happen? How did the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Cleveland nowheres, like, how did they land a Donovan Mitchell, right? Like, I was just shocked, just utter like, what? Is this right? Is this official? Right? We see things, we were like, okay, how did this really go? Like, literally just utter shock. It's like the Cleveland Cavaliers can actually be true playoff contenders. Could actually like it's like once LeBron left, Cleveland who Cavaliers who right like so to know that whoa they pulled a fast one over here. And is this, them mortgaging the house, everything like, look, we want to win now. We want to be better now. Like, whoa, what a big congratulations, Cleveland Cavaliers, on this trade, on this move that I feel nobody saw coming at all. At all. It's saying like, right, we know the Cavs have been the underdog, but look at you now and this blockbuster trade to get Donovan Mitchell. Wow, just congratulations. What were your thoughts when you first saw this? Were you like,
I was shocked because I didn't see Cleveland coming. I couldn't see it anywhere else but Cleveland because I don't know too many people that would purposely go to Cleveland other than LeBron James. Like that's only because he's from there.
Right.
Like I don't know too many people that would be like, sorry, I'm checking up on the game for the Sparks and the Sun right now. But yeah, I don't know too many people who would do that on purpose. So when I saw it, I was like, wait, what? I thought it was like fake news. Like you said, you hear the rumors, so you're like, oh, okay, but he's not gonna go. And then I look and I see it's all over ESPN, and I'm like, what in the world just happened? But you also, here's another thing. You gotta think about it like this. Anytime the New York Knicks have a possibility of getting somebody, just plan that the person is not going there. Like that's officially them saying that I'm not gonna be a New York Knicks, because literally every single time I hear about a superstar supposedly interested in the Knicks, they always go to the opposite. Either they go the opposite way, or they go to the team that you would least expect. And that's what happened with this particular situation. I thought he was going to the Knicks. Once I saw that RJ Barrett got all that money, I was like, oh, he's not going to the Knicks anymore. And then all of a sudden, the next day, he's in Cleveland. And I'm like, wait, what? So you go from Utah to Cleveland? Like, you like cold? You really like cold that bad? Like, you don't. And then what's even crazier about it is because I know the Miami Heat also had interest in him as well. And they were going to trade, I think, Tyler Hero and a couple. I forgot who the other pieces were that were going to be centered in that trade, and obviously it didn't work. They weren't able to make that happen. But now Tyler Hero's kind of disgruntled a little bit. He kind of threw some shots on Twitter and was like, keep that same energy. Pretty much like, y'all wanted to trade me. Now that it fell through, like, don't be trying to knock on my door again. Pretty much. So yeah, it's gonna get interesting. But yeah, I was really surprised about the trade to the Cavaliers. I do agree with Ruth. She said they shouldn't trade Colin Sexton. I do believe that as well. But I do think that Colin Sexton is a good pickup for Utah. So I think Utah got a steal with that one. Being able to get him, he's young. He's very good on defense. Could obviously create his own shot and things of that nature. So that's gonna be really fun for them. But yeah, I'm still just mind blown that he literally ended up in Cleveland like that. But Cleveland is gonna be scary. Like Cleveland is a sleeper team in the East now. Like they're gonna be at least a top 6 team in the East for sure.
They definitely are. Like this is like yeah.
Go ahead, say what you think.
They're like no. It's gonna be like they're in the conversation now. They're in the conversation. They will be in the playoffs. I mean, I know we call it the Easy East, but with this edition, it's like, oh my gosh,
did you say the Easy East?
We've gotten better, but we know the Wild Wild West versus the Easy.
Yo,
Easy
that
East.
that is hilarious.
We know, but
you're right.
but they definitely are going to be in the conversation. I mean, altogether though, do you feel like it cost the Cavaliers Sexton, Ajabi, Laurie, and 3 unprotected first round picks, 25, 27, 29.
And 2
was
picks
the price too high? Was that too high, or do you think no? You're getting Donovan Mitchell. Like
No, I think for a player of Donovan Mitchell's caliber, I don't think that's too high. I think it's just enough. I think that's what the Nets should have done with Kevin Durant, and because it's more realistic. But yeah, no. If you're gonna go after a superstar player in their prime, which Donovan Mitchell is only 25, so he's literally entering his prime right now.
Right.
That's you make that trade, not 11 times out of 11. Like you make that trade because I mean, you know, you gave up a couple picks, yeah, but if you can get, you don't really need. I mean, your team is young enough, so it's like you know what I'm saying because they have a really young team like outside of like Kevin Love, but you know that for the most part that's a relatively young team, so you don't need to. You're not in a rebuild. You're past the rebuild phase already, so you've gotten past that part. Now at this point, you're just trying to create a solid team or just a hub for free agents to want to come to say, look what we got. We got these young guys. We got Donovan Mitchell. We can build around him. You know, things of that nature. So, yeah, you make that trade, man. You have to, because you're not gonna get anything better than that. As far as like nobody else is available right now. So what else could you possibly want to go after? But yeah, I don't think that's too high of a price at all. How about you?
Yeah, no, get them. I mean, make the look. We don't know who those picks are gonna be in the future. With the team you have right now, nobody was checking for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So you want to be irrelevant. You want to be in a playoff conversation. I think the Cleveland Cavaliers did what they needed to do. I'm excited and very interesting to see how this is all going to play out. But yeah, they're definitely going to be in the conversation. Definitely playoff contenders now. So hey, let's make the Cleveland Cavaliers relevant again. So I'm excited for this NBA season and see how everything's going to shake down.
Yeah, it's crazy. This NBA season, I feel like it's going to be one for the books. It's going to be a crazy season, kind of like it was last year. You know, there's been a lot of trade talks, so a lot of players are probably feeling some type of way, feeling like they got something to prove. So that's going to be interesting to see as well. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about the NBA coming back. But speaking of basketball and things of that nature, the WNBA is on fire right now. They got the playoffs going crazy. The Sky and the Connecticut Sun their series is now tied 2-2 because the Connecticut Sun just won. Mm-hmm. So we'll talk about that series first. That's honestly, it's been a great series. I love watching the Sky play because I love Kalia Copper. I think she's amazing. I also like that she talks trash and she ain't scared of nobody. And then Candace Parker is Candace freaking Parker. Like what else can you really say about our good Chicago sis there? Like she is and she's just so amazing and continues to show people that she got a lot of game left, man. But have you been paying attention to that series?
I have. I want nothing more than to see the Chicago Sky go back to the WNBA finals. This is, look, the Sun came in, stole game 1, right? In Chicago in our house, right? So we go back, take care of business, handle game 2. Now we come to their house, still game 3 in their house, right? The Sun. Mm-hmm. And now they're like, okay, this is our home court. We ain't going out like no punks. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get this game, and I'll tie it back up. So yeah, we're sitting at 2-2. We're going back to Chicago. I have nothing but faith in my Chicago Sky. They're gonna go ahead and close it out in this best of 5 game series. So to me, with CP, we holding the team down, being a leader, like we got this. We going back home, we're gonna handle business. Best out of 5, we got this for sure.
I agree. I definitely think they win game 5 for sure. It's been a great series. Like I said, it's been a lot of back and forth. It's been a lot of trash talk, which I enjoy trash talk. It's always fun. But yeah, I think it's been incredible to see Candace Parker kind of turn the clock back a bit and like show people she one of them ones. Like people be trying to sleep on my girl, like they don't know what's going on. Like CP is one of them ones, has been one of them ones for a very long time. So that's been interesting. But yeah, I think the Chicago Sky definitely closed it out in 5 games. But they got to be careful because Connecticut did win one on their court already, so they're not coming in there with any fear. So they got to definitely be prepared. But let's talk about the series that that everybody wants to talk about, the most exciting series that I've probably seen in WNBA history, the Las Vegas Aces versus the Seattle Storm. There has been so many crazy finishes to all three of the games that they have played so far. We all know the Aces are up 2-1. What do you just go ahead? Because I have so many thoughts about this. There's so many different ways we can take
this. Asia Wilson, girl.
Listen, Asia Wilson is her. She is her. She is her. She's her. I'm telling you, I'm playing with Asia Wilson like she ain't one of them. She's one of them. Go ahead.
I couldn't be more excited for the caliber of basketball we're seeing. He's back and forth, close quarters. Like, it's been just amazing to watch. And my prediction, Chicago Sky, Las Vegas Aces in the finals. And this is Becky Hammond's first year as a coach, leaving San Antonio, saying, okay, Pop ain't retired yet. Y'all ain't ready to give me the head coach. I'm about to go to the WNBA, be the highest paid woman coach. She's coach of the year. Like, what they're doing is just wow. Like, it is just so exciting to watch, so exciting to see. It's back and forth. I mean, it's just like, this is basketball at its greatest. And just Asia Wilson, like you said, she is her, she. I mean, like, to see this, you are a basketball player, so like this, when you watching this and you see, like, man, like, what, sis, words, what do you like?
Okay, so a lot of, because as like you said, I play basketball, so I look at it from a player perspective and as a spectator. Anytime I watch women's basketball, I kind of wear both hats a little bit. First things first, can we just discuss Becky Hammond's out of bounds plays? Like, she has, like, the execution of knowing, okay, this person here, have this person cut, you go to the basket, you be a decoy. That, to me, is probably the most impressive part of Becky Hammond's coaching. And you can tell that she's learned a lot from Greg Popovich, because he also was a master of the out of bounds play. Because the recent game that they just had, there was like 3 possessions where they had to take the ball out of bounds, and they got a bucket each possession. Mm-hmm. That is a result of a well-coached team, and having the horses that in the race that understand their role, know what they're doing, and execution by the players, and just pure basketball IQ. Because everybody, it's real easy to run an out of bounds play in practice. It's real easy to run an out of bounds play in the first quarter. Yeah. It's another thing when the game's on the line and it's decisive of win or go home. That's a completely different pressure that a lot of people don't get the chance to experience. Yeah, I have. It's not fun, but if you're on the positive result of it, it's the most thrilling, like, adrenaline you'll ever have. So that's one thing. Okay, and then so Becky Hammond's out of bounds plays, incredible. Can we also talk about Chelsea effing Gray? If there's a definition for clutch, I'd like her picture to be right next to it. I've never seen somebody where I know when the ball's in her hands and it's crunch time, good things are going to happen. Whether it's making the right pass, whether it's making the right defensive play, whether it's making the correct shot, or just making shots in general. Chelsea Gray won them the game the other day. Like, I know the story, like, and we'll get to Asia Wilson, but she won them the game. Yeah. Like, they needed every 29 of those points that she scored the other day. Not only that, because in overtime was hers. Yeah. Like, it was hers. She hit 3 threes in a row. Like, dagger threes. Like, you can't come back from threes. Yeah. So Vegas have so much talent from so many different places. But what makes them go and what makes them almost unbeatable, everybody don't got a Chelsea Gray. The Las Vegas Aces do. That's the difference. And listen, Sue Bird is Sue Bird. And Sue Bird honestly has been playing phenomenal throughout this series. Like, she's been keeping her team in it. She almost won them the game the other day. But Chelsea Gray she's the point guard. She's the one, like, she's the next. She's one of them ones, man. Like, she won, and then if they are able to win this championship, and she rats off a couple, that point guard conversation gonna look a little different because Chelsea Gray is different. But A'ja Wilson, she is her. She is her. She is her. Listen, I've been telling people for years since she was at South Carolina. I said A'ja Wilson is going to change the WNBA because she is the epitome of a stretch four, and she's undersized. Like, when she's playing against, and having to guard the Breanna Stewarts, the Candace Parkers, the, even Sylvia Fowles, the Brittany Griners, free Brittany Griner, by the way. She's undersized again, and she can get whatever she wants on the offensive end. Whatever she wants. She can give you the three ball. She's worked on her three ball, so that's a reliable shot for her. She's got mid-range. She's got footwork. She can work inside. Any way you want it, she can give it to you. And she plays defense. She just won Defensive Player of the Year. And she's had 2 30-plus games back to back. The first player to ever do that. Like 30 and 10 type stuff. Like, crazy. She's her.
Come on.
Like, she's the next. If Diana Taurasi is the GOAT, she baby GOAT. Like, she got to win a couple championships, and she's gonna be right there. She baby GOAT, man. Like, she's completely changing the game. She's getting all these endorsements, which I love. She signed to Clutch Sports, under Brown and Rich Paul's sports agency, so I love that as well. And yeah, man, she's really just been dominant. And I love that for her.
Yeah.
But yeah, that last game that they just had, crazy, insane. But do you think Vegas closes it out tonight, or do they close it out back at home?
It's so crazy, right? It's always hard to go back because when you're at home, you want to take care of the game. You're like, hey, we're not gonna come out lose at home. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it's clearly been a back and forth series because what did do? They came out, stole the first game too at home. You know what I mean? So it's like Storm came out, stole the first game, with the Aces at their home. So I think it's kind of a back and forth. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Storm won last night. Last game went into overtime. So bet, cool, we at home, we got to come back. You know what I mean? We can't lose both of them at home. I can see them coming back with the vengeance, tying it up 2-2. But we going back to Vegas, baby. The Aces gonna take care of business. Yeah, they gonna take care of business.
I think so too. I think the Storm closed it out. Well, they tie it up tonight, and then they close. I think Vegas closes it out at home. And Asia's gonna go to the finals, and I can't wait to see my sister back in the finals because she was in the finals before in the bubble when she lost, but I don't think she loses this time. I think she's kind of, because that's kind of also, it's one of those things where it's narrative based, and that's kind of been the narrative. Like, the Vegas Aces are a good regular season team, but when it comes to going deep in the playoffs, they either crumble or something like that. So I think she's definitely playing with a chip on her shoulder. Sure. Now, before we get up out of here, I do want to, and this is a WNBA related question as well, I do want to ask this: who's your MVP, A'ja Wilson or Breanna Stewart? That's the two in the race, and of course they're playing against each other right now. But you
gotta go, dude. We gotta go with A'ja Wilson, right? Can we not? Like, let me just say too. Let's go back. She played right for South Carolina. You're coached by Dawn Staley. Now you're coached by the great Becky Hammond. Like, I just feel like you can't stop her. I gotta go. And side note, if nobody know this, the Las Vegas Aces used to be the San Antonio Stars, so it's hard to be like, my team got cold, and then they over there just handling business, man. Last time, I was like, how you gonna go to Las Vegas like that? But okay, all right, Spurs, sports entertainment. So go ahead and send them off to Vegas. But yeah, I mean, I just A'ja Wilson, I want that for her. Man, like, that's how the Gamecocks, right? They won the championship for college. She's Gamecock. Like, for her to come get MVP and they win the WNBA finals, oh my gosh, like that would just be absolutely amazing. But I'm gonna go Asia Wilson all the way. Right? So look, I'm torn though because I'm like Chicago Sky, hometown, Candace Parker. You know what I mean? Like I know that series is gonna be so great. And at the end of the day, whoever whichever team's the best team and wins it all, that will be amazing too. But for MVP, definitely, I'm gonna go Asia Wilson for sure.
Yeah, I'm going Asia as well, and I think she's shown the separation in this series because and this is not to take anything from Brianna because she's played extremely well as well in this series. Asia Wilson has been better. She's been better, and I think she kind of went into this series kind of with a chip on her shoulder a little bit. Like I'm gonna, because that, like I said, it's been the conversation all year who's gonna be the MVP, either Breanna Stewart or Asia Wilson. A lot of people think they're just gonna give it to Breanna Stewart, but I think Asia was like, nah, like I'm one of them too. Like you gotta, you know what I'm saying? You gotta look at me in the same regards as her, because Breanna, like I said, Breanna Stewart has proven herself. She's a champion.
Yeah,
like she won the MVP before. Like she's, like I said, she's great. Let's not take that away from her, but I think for Asia, it's like I'm coming, and you got to put me at that table too. So I think Asia definitely is my MVP. I think she's consistently played better throughout the season, and like I said, in this series, she damn near scored 40 twice.
Right,
this is not playing. So that definitely would be my MVP. But like I said, Breanna Stewart is a close second because she's very great in her own right. So but yeah, definitely shout out to the WNBA, shout out to the ladies. As you can see on our banner, the Storm and Vegas Aces are actually playing right now currently on ESPN. So make sure you tune in and support the ladies and show them some love, because like I said, the games have been nothing short of amazing and been so exciting. And I'm so excited for the WNBA because it seems like every year they kind of get better as far as the promotion and things of that nature. So let's keep that up and keep it going, because it is a great product. So y'all should definitely check it out. But that's going to wrap up another episode of the Sports Sensei with me and my girl, Jade Nicole. Shout out to Ruth the Truth. She's over there. She was over there holding it down with production and things of that nature. She'll be back on the episode next week. And we can't wait to see y'all. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day or night, wherever you at. And peace out.
Peace.